Hi, this is Olaf. I'm turning 50 this year. I'm an elite age group Ironman, and I'm in Europe, in Germany right now. We are 15 weeks away exactly from Kona, and it's race week because I'm gonna start in Ironman Frankfurt, at least for most of it, this Sunday. So this is episode 26 of my journey to the Ironman World Championships in Kona and St. George. All right, a bit of an update. As I mentioned, we are now only 15 weeks away from Kona, but most importantly, we have a sort of a training race this weekend at the Ironman Frankfurt. So initially I thought of not doing it at all because after St. George is obviously a bit close and not sort of 100% motivated to really go all in. But then since I was here in Europe and in Germany for the bike fit and the sports diagnostics that I'm going to talk about later, which I did on Monday in Cologne. And here in Frankfurt, I have my childhood friend Karsten, who where I can stay. I decided to do actually Ironman Frankfurt. Initially, plan was only swim plus bike, and I thought, all right. Let's test the legs at least for one lap, which is 10k. Plan is to do swim plus bike plus the one lap of the run, so 10k. So let's see how that goes. We are now Thursday, so 3 days away. Quite exciting to see how that goes. Otherwise, everything is still pretty green. So obviously after the travel was a little bit tired, but had a decent week. Last week I trained in Paris. I had a 3-hour bike that I did again in Longchamp, which is like a course around a horse racing track, so which is not flat, so that was quite nice. Maybe a little bit more intense than I thought, but the runs have been very easy. Swims have been good, and then on when was it actually? We left on Saturday. We left for Frankfurt, and then spent one night here, and then on Sunday we went to Cologne, where on Monday I did my diagnostics. So we had on the weekend was more sort of easy stuff. So on Saturday Saturday was 1 hour 15 run, and then on Sunday was just a swim, and then on Monday was the diagnostics. So that was really quite exciting. So first all morning was the bike fit. So we definitely made some changes, changed some gear as well, put some insoles in the shoes, have a new saddle. We changed the extensions and moved everything at the front sort of forward, lowered the saddle as well. It was a little bit too high still. You could see that in the foot, which was like a little bit of movement at the bottom. And so it looks, you can definitely see the difference. It looks nice. So back is much more flat, we have to see how that goes. I actually had a bike yesterday of 4 hours with 3 times 30 minutes sort of at race pace at 240 watts, and that felt pretty decent. So it was a little bit of stiffness in the leg maybe towards the end, but nothing sort of horrible. And otherwise, even the saddle, etc., no complaints. So far, I'm really quite excited about the new position. It was really done with one of the sort of top bike fitters in Germany, who fitted Frodeno, Patrick Lange, all the top German guys who are world champions. So hopefully that's going to do well. We didn't do the second day sort of in the on the oval track to really measure the CDA make sort of micro adjustments to see how it changes the CDA, to make it potentially even more comfortable if there is no loss in CDA. But this is, it's already great. The idea was that I didn't find another person to do it with, and then the cost would have been like over 3,000 euros or something like that for the full day track. So that wasn't necessary. So and then in the afternoon I did the diagnostics, which were really interesting as well. So first thing was I had the 9.4% body fat, so under 10% is actually really good. I thought you would tell me, hey, you have to lose 2 or 3 kilos, and you can lose 2 or 3 kilos, no problem. Here the message was more, hey, be careful. Normally under 10% you cannot really sustain that for a super long period of time without having the risk of getting injured, etc. So I'm quite happy to be able to continue to eat all the crap that I'm eating, and trying to be a little bit more careful is going to be more than sufficient. It's definitely not something that I should focus on, and that where I can still have sort of massive gains. It's still sort of 7 kilos of body fat overall in the body, but that was quite reassuring and a good news to start with. We then did one max power test, so that was 15 minutes all out on the bike, measuring the lactate here before, right after, and then sort of every 1 minute to see how quickly you get rid of that. Both for Ironman and triathlon, obviously not the most important data. But then we did one running test. It was 5 minutes increasing, so we did 5 minutes at 5-minute pace, and then 30 seconds rest, checked lactate. 5 minutes at 4:30, we checked. 5 minutes at 4, we checked, and then normally we was just supposed to do one more. So we did 5 minutes at 3:40 pace, checked again, and basically it said it's not enough. You're not producing enough lactate, so you have to do another one. So there was one at 3:25, I think it was. Last one, 5 minutes, and then checked again. And so that was able to sort of see the run efficiency, where I produced the lactate, and that also sort of gave a predicted marathon time, again in sort of test environment, so outside is a little bit different, but that gave a predicted marathon time of 2 hours 40, which was really pretty cool to see. And also it gave sort of the it gave a sort of Ironman marathon pace of 4:30 to 4:12. So my best ones recently I've done at 4:30 by starting pretty easy. So potentially there's a possibility to actually go for a little bit faster pace, but Kona again is going to be a completely different story with the heat, humidity, so I'm not going to start by hoping I can run 4:12 in Kona, but anyway, good to know that there is potential for faster times. And then we did 2 basically sort of tests, 7 minutes increasing on the run. It was basically faster and faster up to probably 3:40 pace, and then up to 5% incline, and same thing on the bike, where it was really sort of a step up. So it was 25 watts per 30 seconds, and so that was also pretty cool. Hard, actually both of those were super hard, right? And so I ended up giving up at 500 watts. It really starts to get tough from 350, and then you have 1 minute to 400, 1 minute to 450, and another minute to 500, and then it was sort of game over. But what that came back with was, number one, that the sort of Ironman watts would be between 240 and 260. Again, that's sort of really high range, but you have to be a bit careful with the different power meters, right? My power meter is a little bit low, so and then also interesting was that the power at which, given that I can take sort of more than 85 grams of carb per hour on the bike, the it sort of says that I can go up to 260 watts actually without depleting my my carbohydrate that I've stored in my body. So I can replenish up to 260 watts, which also is good news. So if I really eat well, again, salt being another issue, but on the carbohydrate side, if I really get those 80 or 90 grams of carb in per hour, that means that I'm fine to basically push 240 watts, no problem whatsoever. So that's really reassuring. So those were the main findings. Overall, really good news. Have to be a bit careful because it was done here in Europe, so humidity is low. It was done in a test environment, sort of on the treadmill, super flat. The ergometer, power meter, I don't know exactly how that, it might be more precise than what I have on my crank. The crank is always a bit lower also than my Wahoo kicker still, so I have to take that into account. So again, the idea is not to go crazy. It was definitely motivating to see. It was definitely good to see that despite not having done that much since St.George, I'm still in good shape, and so that was a really great bike fit, really great diagnostics, and looking forward to see what's going to happen in what I can sort of put on the road in Ironman Frankfurt, just out of training. And finally, the last days since then, since the fitting and diagnostic were again pretty easy. I did one, as I mentioned, 4-hour bike since then. That worked well. I was quite dead actually in the afternoon. I don't know, probably didn't drink enough here. Also, it's so dry. I did 4 hours on 3 bottles. Plus one Gatorade at the end, but that was probably not enough. And did a 2-hour run today on Thursday. Tomorrow I have another 3-hour bike and another 1-hour run on Saturday. So plus a swim. So still training basically normally this week, as we sort of planned, and looking forward to have some fun. It's nice to be able to do the race without much stress. If it doesn't work out, there's no consequence whatsoever. So can enjoy it, can really listen to your body. The idea is not to kill yourself, to walk away from there and being able to continue training basically the week after that, almost as normal. So so that's pretty cool, and let's see what happens. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, give me some comments. Always looking or like to hear what your thoughts are. So appreciate really that a lot. As I mentioned before, it helps me a lot to reflect on what it is that I'm doing, what is important, what I can improve on, and also sort of keep my feet on the ground. So thank you very much. I'm really enjoying this process, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to hear about, and stay tuned. Thanks.